And one of the biggest things, right, it was a 7-figure entrepreneur, we were talking about was how much they changed in that journey, right? People always looking for how the business needs to change, but most likely, if you're just starting out, you're not the person you'll need to be to run a 6, 7, multiple 7, 8-figure business. A lot of personal development needs to happen in that time. But there is a shortcut. I always say the shortcut is getting around people who already have the answers, right? Shortcut is listening to podcasts from people that have already taken a journey so that you can learn what they did and do it in half the time. It's coming to conferences, reading books, joining masterminds, and getting coaches. It's all of those pieces to help you move faster than you would on your own. But it's still knowing that, hey, you know what? My journey is my own. Not comparing myself to what other people have done. Not setting limitations up that, I should be to this revenue point by this time and all those things. Because your idea won't be validated until it gets to the marketplace, until people begin to buy it. But then everything you need to do up until that time, move quickly as you can.
Before you get to know success, you'll meet a bunch of fails. Just chasing after money, make the check snail. The walk is mean, sometimes you all alone out on that trail. What made you stay? You could have bailed. The love birth devotion. Out there in that ocean. Got cold, grabbed the sweater, it got hot, I just was roasted. Never stop even when it got slow, I stayed in motion. Become somebody's hero, save a life, telling your journey. Hey yo, check this. You're now tuned in to the Hero's Journey podcast with your host, Charles McGill. This podcast celebrates the determination and the resilience of these individuals as they work to create and grow their businesses. The Hero's Journey.
Okay, and welcome to another episode of the Hero's Journey podcast. I'm your host, Charles McGill, aka Charles Digital. I'm so excited about this episode today, y'all. I got a very, very special guest, speaker, author, coach, and founder of Traffic Sales and Profit, and my business mentor, Lamar Tyler.
Hey,
How
man,
you doing, Lamar?
me on.
Yeah,
Good.
man. Yeah, man. I'm super excited about this because I know you are a wealth of knowledge. But most importantly, man, I know your story is crazy. It got to be crazy because you've done so much, man. So yeah, let's get into it, man. So where does this story begin?
It begins in corporate, right? Working my 9 to 5. And what happened was there was a article in Black Enterprise magazine. You've been around, so almost every story I got include Black Enterprise somewhere.
Yeah, yes.
So Black Enterprise magazine came out with an issue that talked about how Prince George's County, where I was at, was the #1 community in the country for African Americans. Mm-hmm. And I take that magazine article, I go to my GM. I was the IT manager of a TV station in DC. I go to my general manager for the station and say, hey, you know what? Check this article out. Like, we have the #1 spot, #1 community for middle class blacks to move to grow to the best city for blacks in America. We should create a website based around this. And I said, we already got the content. I said, I can build it out. I had my homegirl Micheline down in the newsroom. I said, she can help me. One other young lady, Tracy, in sales. Like, 3 of us, right? We can do it. You don't need no extra people, no extra resources. All I need is you to say, yeah, and we can make it happen. I can source content we already got. So he said, yeah. Over the next, month or 2, I build out a WordPress site. Micheline called all her contacts. She knew everybody in the city, called all her contacts in the city, radio folks, writers, everything like that to give us content. And we launched the first mass media website focused on the Black community. It's called My Voice DC.
Wow.
So we launch it. We blowing it up, right? The TV station has 22 stations that are owned and operated across the country by the actual network. Each one of these stations has about 3 or 4 websites they launched. They try to get onto the web. This is like probably 2007, probably.
Okay.
So everybody trying to get on the web because they kind of coming to it slow. And out of 4 custom web. Everybody had like their main station website and 3 or 4 offshoots. So out of 4, offshoot websites every station would have across 22 stations, like 88 something websites. We were number 4 in the country. And we were number 4 with no budget, no resource, no nothing, right?
Wow.
And at the same time, like one of our other websites was a high school sports website they created. And so this high school sports website, just talk about what they would do. Every week they would go out and send crews to 4 different high school games. So they got the cars going out, they got gas in the cars, they got, probably at least 1 or 2 people, photographer, reporter going out. And then they would have a helicopter that would do flyovers of all the games. So imagine how much money they spent. Then they was piping in sports scores to the website. Imagine this is like a multi-million-dollar project they had going across the station group for each market. Imagine how much money it's putting up there, and we was wiping the floor with them.
Wow.
The only offshoot site we didn't beat was like they had like a weather website. The only one was that one because DC area in the wintertime be crazy. But literally we was like we did so much. The head boss of the actual television station group, I remember being on a call where I had to present to them like what it was. Because they was like, what is this little site out of DC that like we never heard nothing about? And what we would do is basically, it was across like the Fox television stations, like the local market Fox television stations. So what I would do is I basically just every day would go out to the mass media markets that had Black folks. So I would hit up my Fox Detroit, my Fox Chicago, I might do the Bay Area affiliate. I would do, the LA one. I would do Birmingham. And literally they had content sit on their websites that they didn't even know the value of. So I got a great example. Can we go a little bit deeper?
Oh yeah. Let's go.
I got a great example of what this looks like. So remember how American Idol was when American Idol first came out, right?
Yep. Yes.
American Idol was great. Like literally, we would sit and meet. I was a manager, so we would have these manager meetings with the GM every single morning meeting. And American Idol was putting up numbers that were probably only second to the Super Bowl. But it was doing it every week, right? Imagine like Super Bowl was like once a year. Like literally all of America was tuning in for American Idol every week, right? So the year, I think it was, I'm not sure if that was year 1 or year 2. It might have been year 1, but when Ruben Studdard won.
Oh, that was probably you too. I think Kelly Clarkson won the first one. Yeah,
right. So Ruben wins, right? It's a big deal. So not too long after that, maybe like within the next year or 2 or something like that. Ruben got married. The station in Birmingham has like some footage from a distance that one of their videographers went out and got of Ruben's wedding, Ruben getting married, all this stuff like that. Nobody across the country is talking about it. I find that joint buried on like page 4 of the website, Charles.
Yeah.
So this is what I would do. I would take something like that. I'll put it on the front of My Voice DC, right?
Yeah.
I could link, it was all our content in the station group. So I can link to it. I can put the whole article there. I can take their video out of the news system because all the news systems for all the stations be connected. I could download the video, upload it onto our website. And then I would take that link and I would, this is probably pre-Shade Room, right? I don't know if Shade Room was out there then or not, but if it wasn't as big. I would send it to a site called Media Takeout. So Media Takeout was like one of the original gossip joints, right? I would send it to another site, the YBF, right? I would send it out to like the gossip sites, the media entertainment blogs, and they would run so much traffic.
Wow.
And just like the head web dude at our site would be like, Lamar, where's all this traffic? What is this Media Takeout site? Like, what is this, the YBF, right? But literally, it was a great example of mass market not realizing, even when they got content, the content that resonates with certain segments of their audience and population.
Yeah.
But we did. So we literally just would go out there, get it and repurpose it, put it out on our own thing and push it. But how that leads to today is we're running this thing. It's amazing, right? But they didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
We had so many small businesses say, hey, we want to advertise on it and run advertising. But they would say, hey, you know what? It's our station policy to run ads. So you got to do at least $5,000 ads. But meanwhile, we had 30 people that had $2,500. You know what I mean? Just like it just was crazy, and they couldn't see the vision in it.
Wow. So when you started it, could you see the vision?
Yes, because I knew that we were underserved. I knew, right? Like most of the brands we built, I built because I was part of the community that was underserved. So I knew there was an opportunity. I knew there were people like me. And that's what we did. So even with this, I knew the community was underserved. We did it, boom, it hit and it popped. It popped so much that the next year, I'm coming in one day, newsroom is blowing me up. It's one of the executive producers in the newsroom. She's like, hey, do you see what just happened? And we look up and the Washington Post starts a Black website. And they partner with Henry Louis Gates and they launched The Root, right? So it used to be theroot.com.
Oh, okay.
A couple months later, NBC based out of the locally based
The Griot
NBC affiliate launches The Griot, right? So now this is when half of the station, this is when they start to care. Because our community, African American people there, they love it. They dapping me up, they going, all supporting and everything like that. I have to say they don't really care. They don't know what the big deal is, except for my guy, the web guy, because he sees the numbers on it. And the GM, they see the numbers on it. But when they started to see other people, and this is a good story for anybody listening, oftentimes people that know you won't validate your idea until they see other people validate it. So as soon as the Washington Post jumps on it, the creative director calls a special meeting, right? I got to come up to the GM's office. The creative director on there, some of the news managers on there. He's like, we need to do a whole campaign because this is a news station, right? He said, we need to run commercials saying the first website for African American. That's how you do the news, right? Like first is 6 o'clock. He's like, we're gonna be the first African American website catered towards, news and whatever like that. But what happened was my GM basically was like, no. Then when the Griot came out, my GM was like, no.
Wow.
And when I was telling the GM, even when I talked to Big Station, I said, hey, this process and what we've done here, I can easily duplicate across the country. Because I can easily turn up on My Voice Atlanta. That's nothing. I was like, I'm getting half of my content from them already. I could turn up My Voice Detroit, My Voice, Oakland or Bay Area, My Voice LA. I said, I'm getting the content from all these places. And the people are reading my site from all over the country when I share links and, get other people to tie into us. All I got to do is just put their slant on it. My GM looked at me and what he said is, but I don't see how that benefits our station.
Wow.
And at that point, it was when I realized, Charles, right, his only station was his KPIs, his key performance indicators.
Yes.
And his key performance indicators ain't tie into what's happening around the country.
Yeah.
They tied into what happened in DC. And so that dude ain't care nothing about me having a national platform and building this thing out further and even getting all this traffic if it was for the entire station group. All he cared about was his station. So we go from there to me, I'm continuously pitching ideas and sharing different things, and they continually get shot down over and over again because people couldn't see my vision. I would say, hey, we need to have an outdoor music series where we bring in, I'm from DC areas, we bring in go-go bands, we bring in, hip hop artists, we bring in rock bands, whatever it is at lunchtime. Because everybody in DC know government workers don't be working at lunchtime in the summer. They don't work in the summer period, really. Yeah, they be in the building, but they don't be working. So I said every day, right? I said once a week during the summer, we have a lunchtime series. We had streaming software and everything like that. We stream it out on the website, on the main website. It's going to kill. We don't have the budget to bring people. I'm like, we don't need the budget. We TV station. I'm like, I get any band in the city come out here and just perform for the TV station and we give them the views, right? But like so much stuff like that, Charles, I was pushing, they couldn't see the vision.
Wow.
So one day what I said, and I'm saying, like, normally I don't go back this far. When people like, tell a story. I'll be like, we started a site and it took off. I'm giving you the real only here. Hero's Journey podcast.
Yeah, that's right.
So what happened is one day after pitching another idea and getting turned down again, I was frustrated. I went and talked to my friend Micheline that was in the newsroom. And I was like, man, this is crazy. I ain't with this. I ain't gonna keep doing this. And I remember I talked to my wife that night and I said, Ronnie, I'm gonna stop giving them my $1 million ideas and we're gonna build our own $1 million business. And that was where the pivot happened. The pivot happened for that reason. And somebody really opened up my eyes because for years I would always think like, what would have happened if they would have just listened? What would have happened if they would let me expand across the country, right? Because when the Root launched, while we weren't taking the advertiser dollars and my sales team at the station wasn't serious about selling what we had, the Root launched with a partnership from HBO, I think it was. When the Griot launched with a partnership with, I think, with a car brand. Like they all launched. So it validated that the money was there if you wanted to go get the money. And basically we was playing small, they was playing big. So I said, I'm no longer gonna give them my ideas so they can shoot them down and not see the vision. And that's one of my things I always talk about now.
Yeah.
At some point, we got to stop sharing our vision with people that aren't visionary. Because they never going to receive it. They never going to get it. They never going to give you confirmation or affirmation that, hey, you're going in the right direction, keep going, because they're not going to be able to see what you see, miles down the road, because all they can see is right there, what's right in front of them. So that was the point. Everything changed, everything shifted. And that's how we moved from, hey, I'm doing this thing for the station and moving on. And like I said, for years, I was bitter about that, man, because I would see these other stations moving and going, but then somebody told me one day, well, Lamar, if they had actually seen your vision, then you wouldn't have the business you have today.
So true.
And that's like really when I got that and I understood that, because I was like, I was happy. Everybody be like, I hate it. I was cool. I wore jeans, tennis shoes every day, popular in the building, walk around half the day, had my own private office. I had a great salary. I was cool, but literally it took that level of discomfort to get me out of there and to launch my own thing. And what you see today is fruit of that move. Yeah.
Okay. So once you launched your own thing, what was that own thing that you launched first?
So Ronnie and I, when we made that decision, hey, I'm stop giving my ideas. We were talking about doing a blog, because this point, like I'm making content, and it's on a website, and blogging is kind of coming up. And now at the time, we hadn't heard anybody actually made money from blogging. But what we said is, I said, hey, let's build something and let's treat it like a business. So if it takes off 2, 3, 4 years from now, right, we can make money. We had to go back and like redo everything because we was playing around. We did it because I've done that before. So I said, what's something that we can do that people like want to read about and talk about? Because both of us can write, but we ain't writing to be writing. Like some people just want to write because it's on their heart. We're not the people. I'm like, if I'm writing something, somebody got to be reading something, else I'm gonna stop writing. So, we sat down and we thought about it, and we came up with relationships. Then we said, what about relationships? Then we said, relationships in the Black community. Then we said, what about? And we just kept going deeper, and we talked about marriage and the way marriage was viewed in the African-American community, and the fact that a lot of times you would go into a room and somebody say, hey, I'm getting married. And people wouldn't necessarily be happy for you, right? They'd be looking at you like, what I'm talking about, Charles? They'd be like, you sure?
You sure you want to do that?
Somebody telling like, don't say the same mistake I made. You're supposed to one of the happiest days of your life. And people literally like don't even want to share it with other people because they don't want to hear what you got to say. So we said, what does marriage look like inside our community? And then outside, how do others view us? So we said, let's create something. We said, hey, let's make sure the name is something that I love names that when people see it, they know what it is. So what we created was a website, a blog called blackandmarriedwithkids.com, right? And originally the tagline was positive Black marriages do exist, don't believe the hype. But then we watered it down like a little bit over the years. It was like positive image of marriage and parenting in the Black community. But back in the day, it was like, we exist, don't believe the hype on some public enemy type stuff.
And so to me, I'm already thinking back because you got me like flashing back because when the Root and the Grill were out, I remember OK Player, like, some sites that were just like booming. And I remember even, which is interesting enough, the first time I met Freddie, the Urban Intellectuals, I actually had a website around the same time called Social Intellects that I never really went far with, but it was a similar idea. So it's funny that you share that story. So you got Black and Married with Kids.
Hey, Charles, if I could mention that, 'cause you talking about that day, check this out, right? At our recent TSP Game Plan Conference, we had Nicole Brown from Izzy and Live speak, right? About how she didn't, build this business done over $40 million over the last few years. But Nicole, I knew from the blogging days. She had a blog website, right, for Black women. And literally, she was in our mastermind for like, I think a year or two. Before one time it came up, like, we already knew each other. And I was like, she's like, I was the XYZ butterflies. And I'm like, why would you never tell me that? But, that's all to show you. It was a lot of brilliant people putting out content in those days. And it was before, I want to be clear for the listeners, and especially younger listeners. It was not a clear path to money back then. So these are mostly people putting it out because this was a message in their heart they wanted to get out. It was something they wanted to share. And by sharing it, they built audience. They learned how to monetize it, but money was not the primary goal.
Do you send tons of speaker requests, yet you rarely get booked? Do you struggle with getting your EPK noticed? Does your current EPK fail to accurately represent your range of skills, knowledge, and industry experience? We're here to help. We specialize in writing and designing a high-quality EPK that perfectly captures who you are, your skills, your range, and everything you have to offer. This single digital file is all it takes to convince the decision makers of how good you are, so that you can get booked and be paid what you're worth. Whether you're an author, coach, or speaker, a high-quality and effective EPK is a must-have so that you can launch your career to the next level. Stand out from the crowd. Be seen and be heard. Get booked and get paid what you're worth with the Panda Commission EPK design package.
No, I remember those days. Actually, my first official, I built my high school's first official website on HTML when I was 16. That's back in 1996. And man, I always kind of had an inkling for websites. But to your point, I remember when I built it, Social Intellects, and I started to, because it was a blog idea. It was going to be about Black intellectuals. So I was just going to, just put nothing but Black intellectuals on there and just really kind of highlight their stories. That was the whole idea of it. I saw urban intellectuals and I was just like, oh, they doing it cool, but it didn't jumped off yet. Right. But I ended up just doing something else. And then it took off. I was like, man, that's crazy. So I'm curious to you in terms of that experience for you, like when you started it, because eventually it did get really big. How did that happen?
It was really, again, right, we found a void because when we created Black American Kids, same things I did with My Voice DC, we knew it was a void there because we were the people. Like we were a young Black married couple. When we started, we'd only been married for 2 years. So we knew that nobody was speaking to that audience. And at that time in the media, somebody had caught on to the fact that if you do a story about single Black women and why they're single, it's going to get a lot of ratings. So somebody did a story and it took off. Now I'll never forget. It was like a Nightline or a Dateline special. Single Black woman, who's to blame? And they did like a live town hall from the Sanford Porter Center in Decatur, Georgia, in the Atlanta area. Like it was like a town hall with celebrities and everything. And I tell people, like, whenever the tagline is "Who's to blame," they looking for ratings. They ain't looking for no solution.
Yeah, for sure.
Then it's a station out there. I don't know if you heard it, called Russia Today, right? RT. Russia Today did a news segment on single Black women. Why in the world would a TV station for Russia do it? Like it was everybody was getting the views. Wow. So at that time we said, hey, you know what? There are Black couples that love each other like we do, right? We know that they're Black couples that's been together for 20, 30, 40 years or more. We said we know that it's Black dads in the home taking care of their kids and oftentimes somebody else's kids too, right? But we never see that represented. When we did put out there, boom, it just instantly took off, right? We had singles coming to us and saying, my parents been married for like 40, 50 years. So I know this exists and I want to be married one day. So I'm coming to read your stuff. We had couples been married like 20, 30 years. So I know this exists, but we never see our side of the story in the newspaper, on the radio, on the TV, right? So they kind of pushed it that way. And it really was just getting that kind of push and clarity around it to make it happen. And just everything began to kind of shift and change. But it took off. Like some stuff take a while. I mean, we put it out there and it took off. We went from publishing 3 days a week and said we're going to be consistent when we start 3 days a week to then 5 days a week to then we started taking guest submissions. So then we started bringing on freelance writers and then we got a editor and it just totally just blew all the way up.
And I know that at some point you started to build community around it as well. So was that always a vision or was that just something that the people were asking for? Or?
It happened organically because back in those days, the community would happen on your actual website. So it's like unlike now, like you would like we had to make like a special Facebook group and let me make it, go to community and all that crap. Because literally the people that read the blog would be there every day. Like that was the same way. Like back in the day, I had my little, I go to work. I did a lot of government contracts. I wasn't working either. I go to work. First, the government, they always got a cafeteria. You go down to the cafeteria, get you a snack, a sandwich, some tea, some hot chocolate, something. And everybody got their newspapers out, right? So the first couple of hours, you ain't doing that. So I would always have, like everybody, we would always have our like list of, 4 or 5 sites that you go hard for. That's your joint. You read them every day.
That's right.
So we had that. Like we just had readers and we knew like, okay, this person live in Ohio and they got 3 kids. This person married, this person divorced, right? Like we knew everybody and it like the community built itself because they were just consistently there supporting each other in the comments. One of the ways and one of the things, Facebook, right? And that ain't even social media because when we first started, we were on MySpace days. It was just stuff on Black Planet. But Facebook disrupted all of that. Because when Facebook really took off, what they did is they changed it from people coming to our site, reading our articles, leaving comments there, to people being exposed to our site via social, what got us more traffic. But even if they loved our article, Charles, what they would do is come to the site, read the article, then go back to Facebook and leave a comment.
Okay, yeah.
So over the years, slowly, right, we go from articles that may have, 50, 100, hundreds of comments to now the best article could have 300,000 views, but still only have 6 or 7 comments.
Wow.
And 2 of them would be spam. You know what I mean? So it wasn't even that. It broke up the community, right? Because community is created by conversation. There were no conversations happening on the website anymore. So it shifted all those things, and we had to figure out how to build community on Facebook. We had to start doing live events, right? We launched in December 2007, 2009. We had this crazy idea to make a movie. So for 2 weeks after work, I went around filming couples writing their stories for our first documentary we did. Got a laptop from Dell right online. Got some $60 software from Best Buy called Sony Vegas to edit with. Did not know how to do any stuff right. Figured it out on my own phone, but it was real. First movie was terrible. It was real. I'm not even gonna say the name of it. It's bad, right? But I did it all, put it all together, and we showcased it. So then we started. That was like, our first film screening was our first live event we did. So we went from film screenings to tours to boot camps to conferences, but it literally was just going step by step and building along the way, knowing that we didn't have all the answers, knowing that we had no idea about half the stuff we were doing, but just being courageous enough to do it.
Wow. That's powerful. So you recognize the need, and you wanted to continue to meet the people's needs by giving them that content. Oh man, I love that. Okay, so how long did it last? Where was the pinnacle of Black and Married with Kids?
The pinnacle of Black and Married with Kids was probably, that's a good question. It probably was around 2015. It probably was around, if I'm guessing, it probably was around 2015, between 2013 and 2015. And that around that time, we come like a real business, right? So now we got all these freelance writers, but we got a few real staff in the building, right? Helping and monitoring and helping grow it. We have tons of, we were early stage influencers. So we're working with a ton of different brands because essentially at this point, we're the largest Black marriage and parenting site on the web. So if they want to reach Black families, they got to come through us. So we're working with Fisher Price, Disney, Haynes, Sears, Kmart, everybody, right? Like we work with Pampers for 10 years. Spokespeople, Box House for education, a lot of stuff with General Mills. So we doing a lot of stuff, and it's growing, but we got a ton of traffic. And as we, get on social, we leveraging social. At that time, Facebook is wide open. Every time we posted an article on our Facebook page, it would be seen by over 20,000 people.
Ooh.
On average. So our average, when we post up, 20, 22,000 people see it. That's not to mention when one goes off every now and then and does way more than that. So literally one year, we doubled our revenue by just doubling how many times we posted on Facebook. So we used to post 10, 11 times a day. We just literally just posted 22 times a day. And we went from once an hour to twice. We post every 30 minutes because every time Facebook will let everybody, for the most part, that liked your page actually see it.
Yeah.
It just exploded, which is totally different, right? So when things started, we had traffic. We were doing over 300,000 people organic every month. So we were rolling about a million organic readers every quarter, right?
Wow.
And it just a good time. But what happened is Facebook began to get that algorithm, right? They hit that tipping point, whatever it was, where they said, all right, now it's time to put in phase 2, where we create advertising for this thing. And they turned it down. So we went from, hey, everybody's seeing our stuff to just some people seeing it. It went from, hey, when you like the page, it would show, hey, all of your friends, hey, Charles McGill liked Black and Married with Kids, right? And they would say, oh, what's that? I'm married too, and sign up. So we got a lot of organic follows through that. So they took that part off. Don't nobody know what Charles followed, right? and it really was that. They just kind of, as ads came on the scene, they just kind of turned it down and kept turning the volume more and more. So that, as the page was growing, we had over 540,000 people on the page.
Wow.
But, it got to a point, we do a post, and with 100,000 people, we was reaching 20,000. With 500,000+, it got so bad we might reach 5,000.
Wow.
And then it got so bad where Facebook if you're trying to post outside of the platform, they definitely not let nobody see it.
Mm-hmm.
So it really was a shift. And a lot of our blogger buddies and contemporaries did not make it out of this phase. But to us, the only way we did is because when I talked about doing that movie piece, we got out of the game of just advertising and got into creating our own products and services. And when we created our own product and we could sell our own product to our own people, right? That's how we learned to start digital marketing and stuff like that. We took harness of our own destiny, harness of our money, so that we didn't depend on whether advertisers were fickle, when the advertisers were not. It didn't depend on how much website traffic we got each month or not. We had a product that overcame a need or a challenge our people had. We had a platform to sell it directly to them, and we made all the money we needed to make to keep growing.
There's a lot of lessons in that. Hope for y'all that are listening. Oh man, and I'm also seeing a reoccurring theme. If you guys don't know, once again, he's the co-founder of Traffic, Sales, and Profit. That word traffic keeps coming up.
Right.
Something you know how to do. So talk to me a little bit about because so you had that product that you were selling. You were able to control that. You were able to keep the money flowing. At what point did you transition to what we now know you as the leader of Traffic, Sales, and Profit?
Yeah, right around it was the high time Black Mary is probably like 2013. So as I'm seeing a writing on the wall what Facebook is doing, and we're losing, traffic and stuff like that. But really, even on the marriage work we did, I liked it a whole lot. I've always felt like my passion is entrepreneurship. And as I became like a legit entrepreneur, right? And I leave my job in 2010. My wife, Ronnie, comes on board like in 2012, 2013. And we're really doing this. We're learning a lot. And then guess what? People are showing up and saying, hey, I see, like they literally saw us build a real business. They saw us husband and wife. We in a corner bedroom, right? We're in a corner by a bedroom to like, hey, now we got a shared office spot. It's like, hey, now we're in the office. Hey, now we got a team. So as people saw that, they kept coming saying, teach me how to do what you're doing. And, can you coach me? Can you train me? And we'd learned so much. And I always just share so much anyway that I love the idea of creating a brand around teaching people all the things we had learned along the way. And that's where Traffic, Sales, and Profit comes into place, right? We teach entrepreneurs how to drive more traffic, convert more sales, grow more profit in their business. We started in 2015 with just an online course I was going to create. I hadn't created it yet. I said, I'm going to create it. And while we would travel around for Black and Married doing tours and movie screenings and stuff, I picked 4 cities we were going to be in. And I just said, hey, while we're there, I'm just going to add on an extra day where I do this little, hotel room event where I, teach people about sales, online sales, and I just offer a course I haven't launched yet. And the first city we did, we were going to Greensboro, North Carolina, for an event. It was not one of our main markets, but it was like, hey, we're going there. Let's try to do something. 6 people came and almost broke my heart, Charles. Because I'm in Black and Married, I'm usually like, we doing like cruise got like over 100 people on it. We did a 1 day boot camp that had 200 people in it. Like literally, I'm used to 100. We doing film screens at time like 400 or 500 people per city. Yeah. And I did that room, had 6 people. I almost quit that whole thing on day one, right? And I pre-sold the course, which is a way to get me to make it. Because if I didn't have people buying it, I never would. I probably still be talking about the course I'm gonna make. But I pre-sold it, and I knew that would force me to actually make it. So I pre-sold the course, undercharged for it. I think that first city I went to, I charged $500. And then we got done. Like 2 or 3 people bought it. It's like 6 people in the room, 2 people bought it. Okay. And I was sick because I knew it was worth so much more. Like by this time we had made what, like probably a few $1 million in Black and Married with Kids. I spent so much money on conferences, workshops, consultants. Like we had done all of this stuff, and I had so much to teach, and I'm selling for $500. So no. So next city I moved the price and I go to $750, right? $750.
Okay.
And I still felt dirty when I sold it, right? So eventually we get it over the $1,000 mark as we're going through. But I say that because some people always ask about the price. Well, the main thing is just start, right? It's easy. You can always raise the price. But as you're going, like if you never start because you're so stuck on, I'm scared I'm going to charge the wrong price. When you charge the wrong price, you're going to know it. Because you're going to feel like, man, I got, or, you're going to be mad. I ain't even making no money. I'm up late at night doing this site and I ain't making no money, like all that stuff. So we launched it, got it out. I had to create the course in time. So I did the course, got it done. And then we actually, with that initial course, when people bought it, I included a ticket to our first event the following year, which was TSP Live in June. And then boom, we're off to the races.
Okay. So talk to me about a little bit how you plan that out, because course to conference. Now, I don't know if everyone makes that connection right away. So how did you already have that vision?
Yeah, because the thing is, I knew from what we did with Black and Married with Kids, the magic happened in the room. So like I said, we'd done film screenings, we'd done boot camps and conferences. We'd done, at that time, 2 cruises, ended up doing 4. We'd done 2 of the cruises already, right? So I knew this, like the magic happens when we get people together in the room. So I already knew that, hey, what I want to do is get people in the room. I also knew that when we did a conference, I would sell something else, which ended up being the very first year of our TSP Mastermind. So like my thing was, hey, I'm gonna get people to a course, and then later on, I'm gonna get them into the room where we can train them at a higher level, we can do more, we can get them to actually implement and start building out you talked about community earlier. We're gonna start building our real in-person community. Because I don't care how many people you got online, it ain't the same as people being in person. So like I said, everybody bought the course as a bonus. We said we're gonna give you a free ticket to our TSP Live event next year. And I love to train, right? So we did that. Now, what I will tell people, if you want to use that strategy, most of the people did not come. So we give you free tickets. They ain't got no skin in the game. They don't care, right? I don't care how good you say it's going to be, how amazing, who's going to be there. Like most people didn't come. But the other thing we did that I saw somewhere else is to validate and to verify who actually was attending. We had everybody pay a $99 deposit if they planned on attending. So it was a totally free event. But you just had to give us $99, and when you came, we actually gave you an option of offering either your money back, right? We give you $99 back on the spot, or we had a course or there's another course thing they could actually say, hey, instead of money back, I'd rather take that thing. So some people took it back, some people took like the next course. But the main thing is, we got people in the room, 47 people for that first event.
Nice. Okay, so because I know I'm sure people are saying to themselves, and I probably even said this to myself initially, when you started Traffic Sales and Profits, some people would think that there was, an implied success because you already had Black and Married with Kids. So did it take off right away or what, No,
it did not at all. And we thought that it would because most of the couples that we talked to, pretty much everybody in the Black community got a side hustle. So all of our couples, like nobody just went to work. Yeah. Everybody we talked to had something on the side. So we was like, oh, this is going to be easy, right? We got, at this point, we probably got 200,000 people on the email list. We just going to move them from here over there, and we're going to get it popping, and we selling this stuff. It's going to be amazing. But we found out we did that tour, they were not coming. And what I realized was something very important in marketing was a lot of time, how people introduce you to is how they will know you forever. So they came into our world and they were introduced to us through Black and Married with Kids. So for them, we were the couple that could teach them and help them with their marriage, not the couple that could teach them and help them with their business. It was 2 different things, right? So when we did, we did a webinar, we launching this, launching that. For the marriage side, we could kill it. For the business side, we couldn't get anybody to show up, even though we knew, right, that they needed what we had. So we basically had to build a brand new community from scratch, which was a surprise for us, and it hurt.
Wow. I bet you a lot of people wouldn't expect that. So when you realized you had to build this community all over again from scratch, what did you do? Like, what were the tactics you used?
One of the things is we had a different product mix. So with Black and Married with Kids, it really was mass audience. So we had a lot of audience. So we sold a lot of low dollar products and made our money that way just by just mass and numbers. With Traffic Sales and Profit, we took a different approach. We say the first thing we sold was a course over $1,000. Our Black and Married courses at the most was like $47 a lot of times, or maybe $200 if it was like a physical thing. We said, hey, you know what? We're going to start a mastermind. The first year, the mastermind was $10,000. Don't let the mastermind people hear this. Man, they should have got it earlier, right? But the first year, it was like 10 grand. But that was huge because we had never sold anything for Black and Married with Kids. I don't think we sold anything that may have been like over $700. There wasn't like a cruise or like a trip somewhere, right? And they just didn't buy ticket things. So what we initially knew is that since we're starting from scratch, we need to sell high ticket because it won't take as many people to make a decent amount of money. And what we couldn't do was start over from scratch and take the 7 years it took to make real money with Black and Married with Kids again. And like I said, we just knew so much more about the process of building a business, we were able to move faster.
Yeah, man, that's amazing. That is amazing. Okay, so catch us up to now where we are in terms of modern day. So you have Traffic Sales and Profit. You said the first event, you said 47 people were there?
47 people at TSP Live 2016. This TSP Live will have this June we're real close, right, to calling it a sellout at 1,200 people.
Wow.
So, amazing growth, right? That first event was primarily me doing all the speaking. I had a few of my great friends come through. I think I had 2 or 3 of my great friends come through and speak at this next event in June. I'll be speaking. I'm gonna have some friends there, right? I'm gonna have some clients there. Now I got all these 6 and 7 figure clients that's coming. But then we also got Kathy Hughes, Jermaine Dupree, and Issa Rae, right? So it literally has been like a whole, like a huge change and huge shift. But it's all been around like people. Somebody asked me the other day, could you have seen this a couple years ago? No, because I didn't know it, and I didn't know anybody that was doing it. But the main thing I did see was just moving ahead and going step by step. And as you take the steps, you figure out the route. Just too many people are stuck, not moving forward at all because they're trying to figure out what the end look like. And I still don't know what the end look like. All I know is I keep moving forward. I'll be in good shape.
That is powerful. Okay, so man, I'm inspired. I knew I would be by this story. That's incredible. So if you could kind of speak to those people, and you do this often, but I really want you to talk to those entrepreneurs that are hearing your story and also kind of seeing the Instagram and the quick success. I was talking about this to my wife the other day. People sometimes misunderstand weight loss in the journey because on Instagram you see you big and then you small like in 30 seconds. And so oftentimes I feel like internet to the success is the same way. What would you say to those people who are starting out, especially in times like this where things are a little bit slow? What would you say to them in terms of the journey?
Yeah, what I'm gonna say is exactly like the journey. I was shooting interviews on my podcast over the last 2 days. And one of the interviews I did yesterday, we sat down and talked about, and it just came up organically in the conversation, was the journey. And one of the biggest things, right, it was a 7-figure entrepreneur, we were talking about was how much they changed in that journey, right? People always looking for how the business needs to change. But most likely, if you're just starting out, you're not the person you'll need to be to run a 6, 7, multiple 7, 8-figure business. A lot of personal development needs to happen in that time. But there is a shortcut. I always say the shortcut is getting around people who already have the answers, right? Shortcut is listening to podcasts from people that have already taken a journey so that you can learn what they did and do it in half the time. It's coming to conferences, reading books, joining masterminds, and getting coaches. It's all of those pieces to help you move faster than you would on your own. But it's still knowing that, hey, you know what? My journey is my own. Not comparing myself to what other people have done, not setting limitations up that, I should be to this revenue point by this time and all those things, because your idea won't be validated until it gets to the marketplace, until people begin to buy it. But then everything you need to do up until that time, move quickly as you can. Like that's the only thing I can do. Like execute, implement, don't overthink it, move quicker than you can. Done is better than perfect every single time.
Powerful, guys. And I want you guys to know he is telling the truth. I'm a part of his mastermind. It has exploded my business, done wonders for me and my wife. So Lamar, if you could, before we end, can you tell them a little bit about how they can connect with you? I know you got 3 different programs that they can plug into. So would you mind sharing?
Sure, no problem. And thank you. You want to reach me, find out more about what we do at Traffic Sales and Profit. The best place is the website, trafficsalesandprofit.com. And on there, there's information about the 3 programs Charles just mentioned. TSP Propel, which is all about early stage business owners, right? I call it Netflix for business owners, where you can go on there. It's on demand, go at your own pace courses. But if you want more success or want more success faster, we have a program called the Mastermind, where the Mastermind is all about getting to your first 7 figures annually, right? Getting to build $1 million a year business. And doing it not alone, but in a silo, but with a community of people that's going to push you, that's going to poke you, that's going to give you strategy, help you with your mindset, and push you to execute so you can get to where you need to go. And for the 7-figure plus entrepreneurs listening, we have a program called the Collaborative, which is all about helping you get from $1 million a year to $10 million plus. In that program, we have over 30 entrepreneurs that are focused on growing and scaling and doing all the things in their business and push you to do the same. So you can find out more about that, more about our free challenges, free resources. I got a free paperback book, all of those things at Traffic Sales and Profit, and it's A&D and profit.com.
You guys definitely check him out. You will not regret it. I promise you this. Lamar, it's been a pleasure, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
And with that, y'all, thanks for listening.
Well, that concludes this episode of the Hero's Journey podcast with your host, Charles McGill. Make sure you go to Apple Podcasts and subscribe, rate, and comment. Also, check out the podcast on YouTube and subscribe and comment there as well. Share this podcast with others so they may be encouraged by the stories of our modern day business heroes. The hero's journey.